Hey, so I wanted my first big post to be nursing related since that was kind of how this started. I wanted to be true to the original concept of what I was wanting to do. So given the season, I'm going to do it about the flu vaccine. Please don't run away. This is going to be very in-depth and scientific. It's not going to just be, well, you should get it because. Um, I'm not prescribing anything. I am biased towards getting the flu shot. As a nurse, I just have a perspective that that's where I'm at. I do have a lot of science I'm going to share with you that backs up how I feel, and I'm going to be posting all of my sources in the comments in case you want to look up anything and check it out and make sure I'm not lying to you. Um, I want you to feel free to leave a message, questions, comments, post anything you want about it. And as far as questions go, if you have any, I will be getting back to you as soon as I can on those. So a lot of the negativity surrounding flu vaccine has to do with I'll get sick anyway. The flu vaccine itself will make me sick. There's additives in it that I don't like. I never get sick, so why should I get it? So I'm going to kind of touch on those as quick as I can. This is going to be a lengthier video, and I'm sorry for that, but please stick with me because I think that this is going to be a perspective that maybe you haven't heard before. So fingers crossed, let's go. So the first thing is that the flu vaccine is going to make me sick. Not true. It's going to make you feel like crap on day 2 or day 3 a little bit. That happens every year to me. You feel tired. You might have a headache, cough, just generally feel ugh. And that's because the flu vaccine, when it's made, it's inactivated. They kill the live virus. There's nothing living in it that can make you sick. But it's still foreign material that your body is like, hey, what's up? I need to fight this. And that's, excuse me, that's exactly why you get the vaccine. So your body will fight it and not have to fight the flu virus later. So you get the flu shot, your immune system kicks in, and that process of making antibodies against the flu virus that's why you're feeling that way. Your body's kicking in to fight, and it's making stuff, it's manufacturing stuff. So when that process is done, you feel better, and then you have immunity to the flu virus, or yeah, flu virus. So the other thing is that they say it's ineffective. I'm going to get sick anyway. Well, there are two ways that you could get sick anyway. The World Health Organization meets every year. Scientists from all over the country meet and discuss how and why they're going to formulate the flu vaccine for the next year. These guys are trying to tell the future. And I will say it's hard. Like, wow, I would love to go sit and watch them try to figure this out because there's a lot to immunology. It's crazy. So they meet, they figure out the formula they want to use. FDA approves it as well. The manufacturers send it out, or they send it out to manufacturers to have it made. So um, a lot of times when they're formulating this, they're looking at several things like how the virus has drifted and how it's shifted and what do they think is going to be out there the next year based on trends in the past and locations of where like flu B is more dense and where it's more flu A and when are the peak times that flu hits a certain region and like there's a lot that goes into figuring this out more than I could even speak to. But it's because of that whole trying to tell the future thing a lot of times it doesn't match up. What they come up with and what actually circulates the next year are very different. And so you have this mismatch where it's a little bit easier for you to get the flu, even if you've had the flu shot and you have those antibodies. They just don't quite recognize, the antibodies don't quite recognize that that's something that they need to fight with those antibodies. Your immune system obviously has other ways to fight it or it would kill you. But um, the other way is if you get the flu shot. I got mine Thursday or Friday? Friday. And for 2 weeks now. So that was Friday the 3rd. Got my flu shot on Friday the 13th. So until the 27th approximately, I have a window where I could potentially encounter the flu and get sick because it takes the body about 2 weeks to confer immunity to you and give you that immunity from the antibodies. So that like day 2 or 3 where you're feeling that's it kicking in and really starting to go, and then 2 weeks later, approximately, you have the immunity. So um, hopefully I've discussed enough of that. The next thing is I mentioned something called antigenic drift and antigenic shift. So this is a big one. This is where the science really, really comes into play. So if you think about the flu virus, it's covered with proteins that let, like a lock and key, let the virus into your cell, and that's where it replicates inside your cells. And then it's dispersed and throughout the body and you feel like crap. So if you can recall your kids playing, or a kid that you know of, playing with the little shapes that you drop through the hole, or the puzzle where you have to match the fruit to the right slot, anything lock and key like that. I'm going with the shapes. So there's a protein on the surface of the flu virus that there's actually more than one, but we're going to go with hemagglutinin. It's shaped like a triangle. And it's this protein that lets the flu virus into the cell. Well, the cell also has something on its membrane that's shaped like a triangle. So they recognize each other and they're able to, the flu virus is able to get in and replicate. And you're probably asking, well, why do we even have a triangle-shaped thing on the surface of our cells? It's probably piggybacking off something else that needs that same receptor. But honestly, I don't know. I haven't dug in that far. I might have an answer for you in a couple of days. So, then let's say, let's take this 2 ways. So, the triangle-shaped virus is able to get into your cell. Let's say that you did get the flu shot. Okay, and let's say that you had antibodies made that were also shaped like a triangle. When the triangle-shaped virus enters the cell, your antibodies are right there ready to go. And it's like, hey, I recognize you. You're not going to cause him or her to be sick. That's that. Okay, so the problem is the virus drifts. It's constantly, as it replicates, undergoing drift. So if this was the beginning point, it starts as it replicates. It just mutates, and those little mutations are called drift. And as this drift is occurring, the shape is changing. If it changes enough, let's say you don't get the flu shot the following year, okay? And now when the virus is inside of you, it's going up to the cell, and the antibodies are here, the triangle-shaped antibodies, and they come up because they recognize that it's foreign, but the virus is now shaped like a square. Well, the protein on the virus is shaped like a square. And so your triangle antibodies are like, we don't know how to fight you. So other immune processes kick in, of course, to try to help you out that are more generalized and not as specific. But while that's happening, the square-shaped flu virus is going up to your cell. And remember I said that your cell had a little receptor on it that was shaped like a triangle? Well, this is the whole receptor right here. You can see that. It's a triangle, but there's a square around it. So the flu virus can still get in and infect you. So your triangle-shaped antibodies were ineffective. There's still a way to get in the cell, so you get sick again. That's drift. Shift, if you remember in 2009, there was this big hoopla about H1N1. That was a shift. When you have a totally new subtype of flu will come out, and they have to just like classify it as itself. Like drift is just drift. Shift is like a totally new thing. And it typically comes out of the animal population and has shown the ability to cross a species barrier. So that's shift. Interesting little fact, type A can undergo both drift and shift, while type B can only undergo the slow as it mutates to drift. This is why instead of getting a flu shot once every 10 years, you have to get one every year because it is highly infectious, highly contagious, and it mutates like crazy. So this is why the flu shot is only good for a year. But thank our scientists that work on this all year long to try to tell the future about what happens next year to protect us and the community and the people we love. So the thimerosal and formaldehyde. Additives are an issue for some people. So thimerosal is no longer used in vaccines for children since 2001. And a lot of the talk surrounding the flu vaccine has come from the discussion of people being for or against vaccines altogether in the child population because of what some people believe can cause illnesses because of the vaccines. And I am not going to get into that argument. That's not for me to have an opinion on, I don't believe. But if any of you are watching that are against vaccines, I hope that you do listen to this and take it to heart and ask me questions or give me your point of view, because in order for me to understand it better, I'm going to have to talk with somebody that believes that side of it. So again, feel free to reach out and give me comments. So thimerosal was used as a preservative additive that helped protect against germs. When I was the drug room director, the pharmacy director, there was a push from the Institute of Safe Medical Practices to eliminate multi-dose vials. Multi-dose vials are exactly what it sounds like. You have a vial with a rubber stopper, and you go in, you get your medicine, you give your shot. You go in, you get your medicine, you give somebody to multi-dose. Well, the problem with that was it was unsafe because you could pull up too much and overdose your patient. You could give too little and be subtherapeutic and not help your patient. Or you're going through that stopper so many times before it's empty, you're introducing, like, the potential to introduce germs is like very greater than versus a single dose vial where you just draw it up once and you're done. So that occurred during my stint as the director. We had to go through and try and eliminate as many of the multi-dose vials as we could. And I don't know, I'm not in that realm of ordering drugs anymore for a hospital, so I don't know if everything's been eliminated now or not, but I have not seen a multi-dose vial in probably 2 or 3 years. So so thimerosal, given that it is a preservative, isn't typically used in single dose vials. You just go by the expiration date and you throw it out if it's beyond that date. I am not trying to promote any flu shot, but I just know from experience and research, and I double checked myself today to make sure that I was telling the truth, Fluzone does not contain thimerosal. So if that's a worry, ask your doctor, your pharmacist, if they have Fluzone. If they don't, ask them if the one they have contains thimerosal. The prescribing information that comes with every drug has that in there. It will tell you if there's anything in there. So the pharmacist, your physician, can look that up and let you know if it is a concern for you. So you can still get the flu shot and avoid having thimerosal if that is your wish. The other one is formaldehyde. So everybody knows that the flu vaccine, well, the flu virus is grown in eggs for the production of the vaccine. So this is why if you're allergic to eggs, they want to know, because that may eliminate you from getting the flu shot. Not necessarily. Ask your doctor. Even if you're allergic to eggs, there's a great chance that you can still get the flu vaccine. The CDC has a lot of information about this on their website, and of course you can always just ask your physician. Formaldehyde. Okay, so it's in order to kill this live virus that they're growing in eggs, the manufacturer has to get rid of the live part of the vaccine, kill it. So it does that with formaldehyde. That's the only reason that there's formaldehyde in the flu vaccine. Sorry. The cool part, though, is that you actually have more formaldehyde naturally occurring in your body than the flu shot contains. So chemical reactions are constantly going on in your body, building up, tearing down, like it's all over the place. At some point, formaldehyde's being made or broken down, depending on what the body needs to do. Okay, it's a byproduct. It's like an intermediary step in all of these chemical reactions. But you have more of it in you now than the flu vaccine. So, and your body can obviously, if it has a way to chemically make it or break it down with all the other chemical reactions it does, it knows how to use that compound. So if you're getting a shot that contains a little bit of formaldehyde, if there's excess, then the body's just going to pull that into its whole chemical reaction chain and eliminate what it needs to eliminate. That's it. So, oh, I never get sick. I never get the flu. The only way you're going to know if you never actually got the flu is if you got a nose swab and you were tested. And of course, some of those have false negatives. And so, I mean, you can also have yourself subtyped, but the point is you can actually infect someone 24 hours before your symptoms even show up. And in communities where we have a lot of elderly, a lot of very young, the frail, the immunocompromised, these people, if they get the flu, it hits them hard. So not only is it a good idea for them to get the flu shot, in my opinion, it's also good for people like me that are young and healthy to get it, because those people that don't get the flu shot, if I haven't gotten the flu shot, if I haven't done what I needed to do to protect myself, and I get the flu, and I'm infectious for 24 hours before symptoms show, where I know I need to stay home and like not be out in the community spreading this around, I could be at Walmart or in closed quarters or at the hospital, and I could give this to someone that didn't get the flu shot, that maybe has cancer or HIV or some autoimmune disorder that really hits their immune system, and they could die. Like, I could kill them because I gave them the flu and I didn't even know it. Granted, I would probably never know that this happened, but if I did, my gosh, I would feel just really like I can't even imagine how bad I would feel. So that's a really big reason that just keeps me getting the flu shot. I'm in the industry of healthcare, and of course, it's just a smart thing for me to do, being around the sick all the time. But when I think about how my actions could affect somebody else's entire life, not to mention their family and loved ones, that's a pretty big deal. So, I do have more information on how this affects you financially, on how it can affect certain populations. There is something else called flu. There is one that's not inactivated. It's actually a nasal form that you can get, and I will speak on that to anybody that wants to ask me about that. But this video is already too long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it down and remind you again, I'm not prescribing. Leave your comments. And I'm 5 by 5. So until next time, be the change and make it count.